Never mind that Ike ended up a Category 2 hurricane, not the cataclysmic killer that was predicted.
It's going to knock out power. It's going to cause massive flooding.
In Galveston, take a look. It was bad. Those piles were people's homes, their belongings, not even 2 days ago. Smashed by winds up to 110 miles per hour, dumped by a storm surge 13 to 15 feet high. Ike is a stern reminder that storms happen, in spite of all the 21st century weather technology, in spite of all the dire warnings to evacuate.
It's not a time again to play chicken with the storm or to take risks with the storm.
But people did just that, even though a good 12 hours before Ike actually hit, much of Galveston Island was already flooded. The city's population, 57,000. By some estimates, 40% stayed.
It's just me and God, that's it.
On Friday afternoon, knowing full well what was coming, thrill seekers stood on the 17-foot seawall as waves crashed over the monument to the great storm of 1900, which Galveston had no idea was headed its way.
Clearly, it ranks, at least in terms of death toll, as the #1 most lethal hurricane in history. In fact, the single most lethal natural disaster in American history.
The Category 4 hurricane killed at least 6,000 people, possibly twice that. There were 150-mile-an-hour winds and a 16-foot storm surge. Eric Larson's 1999 bestseller, Isaac's Storm, recounted the true story of how Isaac Klein, head of the Galveston Weather Bureau, failed to predict it, and the tragic consequences when it made landfall.
A cascade of errors, of unexpected things came together so that this monumental storm arrived essentially by surprise.
Larson here in an interview marking the 100th anniversary of the storm.
This barrier of debris, about 3 stories high by about 3 miles long, that was then pushed by wind and storm surge and waves across great parts of the city, literally scouring it clean of everything.
The before and after pictures are startling. Galveston had been rich and cocky and sure it was about to become the New York of the South. The hurricane ended its grand ambitions forever.
I mean, if there are poor choices for where to put a city, Galveston Island probably ranks very close to #1.
Since 1900, 8 more significant hurricanes have battered Galveston. In 1915 and again in 1943. There was Carla in 1961, Fern in 1971, Alicia in 1983, Rita in 2005, Humberto last year, and now Ike. Ironically, a nickname for Isaac. Isaac Klein became obsessed with improving hurricane forecasting, so the horror of 1900 would never be repeated. As soon as Ike's winds died down, the Coast Guard began picking up people by the hundreds who chose to stay in Galveston and push their luck in spite of ample warning.